Okay, so I was just having this thought. I look crazy, but don't pay attention to that. So basically, I was having this thought about how if we, as the body of Christ, would become more comfortable about just admitting that our church membership or our church partnership is not a lifetime subscription, versus it's typically more or oftentimes more seasonal, we would be better off as a body of Christ. And it made me think of something that I think about often as far as like, there's so much dissension a lot of times in the body of Christ. You have denominations here, denominations there. And I always remember that I think it was Pastor Dwayne at the church that I grew up in. I remember he said something like, he believes that denominations are one of the greatest tools of the enemy, that the enemy uses to divide the body of Christ. And I remember that really stuck with me because I was like, facts, because we get so focused on fighting about the stupidest things that literally do not matter. Like the littlest things. Some of them are big things that matter, like whether you believe certain things about Jesus or whatever, but some stuff is really just the stupidest of things that divide us and cause tension and hostility towards one another, and makes us feel like, oh, Baptist is better than Presbyterian and Presbyterian is better than Pentecostal or whatever, Word of Faith this, our church this, whatever. But we get so caught up in that stuff. And it made me just have this thought as like, if we just more so accept the fact that church partnership and where you're planted is more of a seasonal thing than a lifetime thing, we will be so much better off, because oftentimes we forget that in our lives we go through different seasons, and in those seasons we have different needs. Well, different churches supply different needs or feed different needs, and it's okay. Like some churches are bigger and can supply various needs like prosperity, holiness, missions. They're able and have the resources where they're able to focus on various different things. But some churches, they're only able to focus on prosperity because maybe that's what God called them to. Other churches only focus on missions. I think about like Philip Anthony's church. He clearly focuses heavily on holiness and righteous lifestyle. But we make that an issue. Like we go to these churches and we're in these churches, and when we go to them, we make it an issue that one church is not fulfilling every single need. That's not a bad thing necessarily. That just means that that church is not for you, or where God is calling you to in that season. And then on the flip side, like when people want to leave um, churches, leadership, or whatever, oftentimes are hostile towards people who want to leave. Versus if we just accept that it is a seasonal thing, you can more so guide and help people navigate to the right church that supplies the need that they have, or the church that will feed the need that they have for that particular season. And it also made me think about like this whole B Simone thing. I really didn't like over the past year or so. I really don't follow it that much, but every now I hear different stuff about it. But when I guess her and Megan Ashley had their dissension or whatever, I feel like social media took their friendship breakup along with other things that people saw B Simone in the news about, and they just turned it into like a her against them type thing, or like Megan Ashley is so much better than B Simone because Megan Ashley seemingly may have more acumen in the word or whatever. But the way people pit them or their ministry platforms against each other, I never liked, and it always bothered me. And I always felt like, people look at being Simone and try to downplay her platform or her ministry, where in this season of life, there are people that she is reaching. There are people that Megan Ashley is reaching. Those people are likely different classes or different people who are on different levels of their spiritual walk. But guess what both of them are doing? Reaching people for the glory of Jesus Christ. And we pit them against each other so much all the time. And I cannot stand it when I see it on social media, because like people so often make B Simone's just such this negative person. Like people are all up in arms when she went to some event in like some outfit, and I'm like, we make the stupidest of things like an issue. So I'm getting off track, but back to my original point. If we would more easily admit that and learn how to shifts better, we will all be better, because again, the body of Christ is made up, the body of Christ is symbolic of a body. What does a body do, or what is a body made up of? Different functions that serve different purposes. So just like the human body, the body of Christ is made up of churches that serve different purposes, different functions in the body of Christ in the earth. And if that would just click in our head a little bit more and help fuel our perspective on how we analyze and judge churches, or what churches do and what churches focus on, we would be so much better as a body. Like, we really have to grow up. Like, all the silly church war stuff, like, we have to grow up and learn how to steward shifts better. So, anyways, that's my little diary for today, and that's what I was thinking about.